Backstory. I play cricket for a club and sometimes just with my friends. We play proper cricket with a hard leather ball. So a few weeks ago, me and my mates were bored typing memes in our group chat on IG, when one of my mates, we will call Jacob, suggested we play a proper game of cricket on the field next to our school. We were on holidays summer break in Australia at the time. Everyone loved the idea, so we said on Saturday that week we'd go and play cricket. There were 26 of us in total, 22 players, 11 per side, 2 mates to score for us, and 2 umpires. We chose the teams fairly and went out to play our one-day game, 50 overs. I was a captain and won the toss and chose to field, and because I'm a wicket keeper, I went to put my protection on, pads, gloves, etc. My team has 1 spinner, Jacob, and about 25 overs in, I told Jacob to come bowl. For those who don't know, when a spinner comes on, the wicket keeper wears a helmet as he stands right up to the stumps and right near the bats. Jacob was doing well 4 balls into his over, and he had 1 wicket, out, and had only 1 run hit off him. On the 5th ball, a crazy kid who looked like he's drunk 5 cans of Red Bull ran onto the field. He ran right into where the ball was about to go, so I used my reflexes to tackle him off the pitch and not get hit with the ball. Meanwhile, the batsman didn't know the kids were there and started to swing his bait. Luckily, I jumped in front and he stopped his swing, but that could have ended really badly for this kid. I got off the kid and stood him up and asked where his mother was. As soon as I said that, this woman wearing a very baggy shirt and some jogging shorts came running towards me screaming at the top of her lungs, "Get off my son, you pedo!" I'm not touching her son at this point. She runs up and smacks me on the helmet while I just stand there in shock. This is the following conversation. Why did you tackle my son and lay on top of him, you creep? Me. Because the little brat was about to get a cricket ball to his shin and a bat to his head. It's just a tennis ball. It wouldn't have hurt at all. Me. You don't think the ball would have hurt? Yeah, Jacob, chuck us the ball. He tosses the ball and I remove my gloves to reveal my hands. I squeezed the ball as hard as I could and nothing was happening. Me. Tennis ball, you say? Then why isn't it squeezing? Because you've got a little girl grip. Now, I went to a special cricket camp for 5 days and they did a grip test to see how firm our grip was, and because I'm good using both my hands, they are both dominant. My grip was firm on both about 2 times the normal person. I don't have a little girl grip. I hand her the ball and say, "Right so." Then you squeeze it if you're so confident. She squeezed with effort, you could tell by her face. With no luck, she gave up and threw the ball at my head, screaming something about her son wanting to play and we should have let him. I did, however, hear and see her pointing at me saying how she was going to call the police on me for assault. I said, how exactly did I assault anyone in this scenario? She grabbed the face guard of my helmet, pulled me close to her, cigarettes on her breath, and said, "You tackled my child, you pervert?" At that point, I've had enough, and because I did karate and taekwondo for a few years, even though I didn't make it past white belt, I still know a few things. I grabbed both of her hands, twisted them, and then shoved her off of me. I told her to piss off and never come back. She and the little monster walked off and me and my mates decided to keep playing. I wish I could tell the story and then everything will be happily ever after, but no. About 15 minutes later, we hear sirens and sure enough, she called the police. She talked to them for about 5 minutes and then the police came over here onto the field and told us to come over and speak to them. Then said not all of them, just that brat in the helmet pointing at me, the police, and then said, "You come over here," so I did. The officer told me that she said that I assaulted her child and her for no reason at all, and then asked for my side of the story. I told him that me and my mates were just playing when the little kid ran onto the field, so I tackled him to the ground because he was about to get a bat to the back of the head and a ball to his shin. I then explained how she came over, threw a ball at my head and grabbed my face guard, and then I told him to go ask anyone on that field and they would tell you the exact same story. So I called Jacob over here and asked him to tell the police what happened. The story was then again repeated by Jacob. The police then asked me if I wanted to press charges for assault. I said no, as I just wanted to get back to my game. Unfortunately, not 5 seconds later, after the police were walking away, she then punched me right in the face as I took my helmet off to talk to the officer. The police then ran over and tackled her to the ground and she spat in one of their faces. She was then arrested for assault of a police officer and resisting arrest. What a crazy lady. So when I was 18, I'm 20 now. I was working as a delivery guy at a pizza place. I never had a vehicle like this, and I have been using a scooter since I was 10. Story. Ring. Coworker. Welcome to Pizza Place X. How can I help you? We do not serve those here. Okay, but it will take an hour and a half. Have a good day. He says to me, we have an order, but there's a problem here. The lady wants brownies and a cake saying happy birthday. EK, May. So I need to buy brownies and a cake and a big bottle of Fanta, Sprite, and Lipton? Me. Okay, notes everything on the list. The coworker tells the cooks to cook 12 pizzas. Later, I have the pizzas and I go to the store to get the brownies and the sodas, pay, and go where I need to get the cake. When I went to where I needed to deliver, I realized it was my old neighbor. She was the entitled Corinne. BM, finally you arrived. Why did it take so long? Me, well, EM, I don't care. I'm not paying for them. Me, what? Lady, you can do all of these for $95. BM, what? $95 for this nonsense? Then my friend, also a neighbor, saw me getting yelled at and started recording. BM, you are late as heck. I am not paying the food, and you will have to give my son your scooter. You are too big for it. Me, lady, I'm not giving you anything. I'm now starting to leave. DK then comes running with a bat and then hits me. My friend then thought that was enough and called the police. 3 minutes later, the police came. The EM then plays the I am the victim card, but my friend rushes over to us and says, I record everything. Then EM's face went white as a ghost. The police saw the recording and she was arrested for assault. The police paid for the pizza and the rest, and we then had a party at the pizza place, and we all had a laugh about the story. I had to go out shopping today. Nothing big, just some groceries I needed at the last minute. I went to Wally World first, then to a local grocery store for the rest. I go to this store for all my meat because they have butchers and all the meat and seafood fresh. Anyway, I picked up 2 small packages of skinless chicken thighs as I have a recipe I've been wanting to try out in whole chicken for Christmas dinner. As I was walking away, I heard someone say, Excuse me. I didn't think about whomever it was talking to me. The store was pretty crowded, so I kept walking. Then I felt someone pinch my neck. Not like a small pinch. This woman full on got as much of my flesh as she could between her bony fingers and twisted. I nearly screamed. I said, Excuse me. I turned around looking at her like, what the heck? This lady had a full basket of food, soda, and other junk. She had her mask on, but I could tell she was scowling at me behind it. I'm sorry, but you took the last packages of chicken thighs and I was about to get them. Now I am fighting the urge to curse this woman out. Who the hell pinches a stranger? I bit my tongue while she continued to tell me about her dinner plans. Then she said, Do you mind giving them to me? I have 3 boys at home and I need to go. I simply say, No, I got them first and one of the butchers at the counter might be able to help her. I was about to walk away when she pushed her cart against mine. I don't have time for that. I need to get home and cook. Give them here. You can get something else. At this point, I just wanted to get away from her. Again, I tell her no and push away to get the last couple things I needed. I thought that was the end of it. Not even close. I'm looking at milk when she full-on rams her shopping cart into my leg. Like I think she got a running start and slammed into my leg. Side note, my left knee is dislocated. I can still walk on it, but it's painful and right now I can't afford the time off for surgery. My doctor put me in a brace that helps me get around till I get surgery. She hit my left leg. My knee just gave out and I hit the floor crying in pain. The woman didn't even blink. I saw her reach into my cart, take my chicken and walk away as if she did nothing wrong. Thankfully, more than enough people had seen what she had done. A couple helped me up while someone else got help. I was crying and sobbing. The pain is so intense. An employee brought a wheelchair for me. Others were asking if I was okay, and some customers even ran after the woman. She was stopped at the checkout by a manager who returned my chicken to me while the woman ranted and raved that she had a family to feed and I could have just given her the chicken because it's Christmas. Eventually, I checked out. A couple employees were kind enough to help me to my car and even load up my groceries. The manager asked if I wanted to call the police or press charges, but I just wanted to get home. He gave me some coupons, apologized, and said they would deal with the woman. I called my brother-in-law on the way home. He met me at my apartment, helped me inside, and unloaded everything for me. As of right now, I am sitting on my couch with a very red and swollen knee. I've taken my anti-inflammatory medication, got it elevated, and put some ice on it. Definitely gonna need to see my doctor tomorrow though, because the pain is coming in waves at this point. She could have seriously injured me over 2 packs of freaking chicken. Quick edit update. So the store did call the police, but I was gone by the time they got there. An officer contacted me. I got a meeting set up at the station tomorrow after my doctor's appointment. The officer informed me she was questioned and released, not arrested. They do want me to file a formal complaint in order to have her arrested for assault. I promise, I'm okay. The swelling has gone down some and I'm on some painkillers. Another quick update. Promise I'm going to the police station tomorrow after I see my doctor. I will be pressing charges against her. Update 3. I've been at the doctor's office almost all day. I got a CT scan, MRI, and 2 x-rays. Also got some new pain meds, and he's ordered me a new brace as well. Nothing broken, and I won't know the MRI or CT results till tomorrow. Went by the police station and filed a report. They will hopefully be arresting Karen later on today. Back when I worked for a major retail chain, I was a low-level manager. Each of us section managers had one part of the store assigned to us: electronics, sporting goods, toys, front lanes, etc. Besides all the general work, we were responsible for keeping that section stocked and for rearranging the shelves in stock when corporate decided to change the layout. I had moved across the country into an equivalent position at another store. I put equivalent in quotes because at my previous store, I was the jack of all trades who got assigned wherever I was most needed because I was a fast learner and a hard worker. At my new store, I was just the most junior section manager and got assigned the 2 sections no one else wanted: seasonal and mini-seasonal, the ones that got changed around the most often. This meant I had to come in at 5 a.m. to reset my areas twice as often as anyone else. Normally, this wasn't much of a problem, but this time, my manager scheduled me to close the Sunday night before I was supposed to come in at 5 a.m. Monday to reset my area. I told her that wouldn't work, since closing managers on weekends always ended up staying until after midnight. Well, that's the schedule, she said. I can't change it. Now, I know our company's rules. I'd been in charge of monitoring and enforcing them at one point at my old store. One of these rules was that hourly employees like me had to be allowed a minimum of 8 hours between shifts. Since closing shifts are officially scheduled until 11 p.m., I was not allowed to come back in at 5 a.m., even if I got off at the scheduled time, since that was only 6 hours. I tried to explain this and my manager blew it off. I worked my closing shift as scheduled. As expected, due to high traffic and low staffing, we were there getting everything restocked and fronted until almost 2 a.m. According to the schedule, I had to be back in 3 hours. As we were leaving for the night, I told my manager, "See you at 10. She tells me, "You're scheduled for 5. You have to set up your sections to the new plan." Yeah, but besides being against company policy, I found out that it's also against the law in this state to make an hourly employee work 2 shifts with less than 8 hours in between. What? Why didn't you say something sooner so I could change the schedule? I did. While my manager had been willing to break company policy to screw me over, she knew better than to break labor laws and didn't argue further. I showed up for my shift at 10 a.m. the next day and found my manager, utterly exhausted, still trying to get my area set up. This was normally a 2-3 hour task, but she didn't know what she was doing and had gotten no sleep. When I got in, she told me she was going home. She looked haggard with dark circles under her eyes and that unfocused stare people get when they're too exhausted to even move their eyes. I took over and had the work finished in under half an hour. The next day, my manager didn't show up for her shift. It turned out that on her drive home, she had gotten in a minor car accident, then been arrested for DWI. For those who live places that don't have the distinction, driving while intoxicated is broader than DUI. Driving while intoxicated can include things besides intoxication, such as driving with a cast or without your glasses or when too tired. Generally, judges are lenient about non-intoxication driving while intoxicated, but when an accident is involved, not so much. She ended up getting fired from work later after she stopped showing up because her charge wasn't just dropped and she had some consequences to face. To top it all off, I found out later that my manager was the one who made the schedules for us section managers. So her claim that she couldn't change, it was a straight up lie. She just didn't want to. Mother-in-law's family likes to treat me like absolute crap for keeping her grandkids from her. In reality, mother-in-law is welcome to visit but doesn't want to because she would have to stay in a hotel. She chooses to never video chat or call, so she has only seen my 5-year-old once and never met my 3-year-old until now. Mother-in-law also doesn't invite us to visit because she claims her husband doesn't want us in their house. I always thought that made him sound like a controlling douche, but whatever. We are currently interstate for a wedding. Recently, I got crap from mother-in-law's dad about how it isn't right. We should come and see her. I replied that we aren't invited as her husband doesn't want us in the house. Well, mother-in-law's dad is a gossip, so that got around to the whole family, and mother-in-law's husband was mad and said he never said that. Mother-in-law said it might be a misunderstanding and we should let it go. At this point, I realized she had lied about something. I said it wasn't a misunderstanding on my end, as I had clearly heard her say it. Mother-in-law's husband snapped at me that while he wouldn't enjoy us visiting, he would never be controlling like that with his wife's son. Mother-in-law again said, "Let's move on." I refused and said she had told me that, so right now she needs to explain. Mother-in-law finally admitted that he never actually said it, but she knew how much he would hate having us in his house, and it made her sad, so she didn't want to invite us. She then got some crap from the family about being a bad mom and lying. Mother-in-law is currently furious with me. She says I should have let her change the subject, that I made her look bad and that I took what she said too literally. Not in the wrong. You caught her in her web of lies. People like her need to be outed for their lying. She lied to save face and to make her look like an innocent victim and to villainize you. You did the right thing by calling her out. Not in the wrong. You took what she literally said too literally. Were you just supposed to ignore what she said and invite yourself over to a different state with small children? She wants to be the victimized grandma who never sees the kids and never has to make an effort to see them. You probably didn't help your relationship with her, but kinda doesn't seem like much of a loss anyway. Not in the wrong. It sounds like your mother-in-law was trying to manipulate the situation and make herself out to be a victim. All you did was ask for clarification and get the truth. Even the rest of the family agrees with you. She's just looking for someone else to blame for her bad behavior.